Hi, hello, good morning, my dear students. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Kayaka Maths Classes, where you can learn maths with ease and confidence. So, today we are discussing a mathematics class for PUC second year students, that is chapter number 3, matrices. So, this chapter is very important because this is having a weightage of 9 to 10 marks in your board examination. So 1 or 2 marks for 1 marks will be asked, as well as and one question compulsory for 3 marks, as well as 5 marks will be asked from this chapter. Okay, so for scoring is concerned, this chapter is very important. And also one more important thing is you should know the basic definitions and the basic matrices operations, because these concepts are going to help you in understanding the concepts in the next chapter, that is the determinants, because these two chapters are interrelated to each other. So matrices is very important. Okay, so let us see, in the today's class we'll see some of the basics of the matrices, that is definition and types of matrices. Okay, my dear students, let us see one by one. So here you can see matrix definition. First, let us see the what do you mean by matrix and how can we define it. So you can see a matrix is a rectangular arrangement of elements. The elements may be numbers or any symbols or any kinds of functions or expressions, and which are arranged in the form of rows and columns. This is very important. In simple way, you can define it as arrangement of elements in rows and columns. For example, if I take matrix A, so 2, 3, 5, -1. So here you can see the horizontal elements, we call it as a row, and the vertical elements we call it as a column. Isn't it, my dear friends? The horizontal elements are rows and the vertical elements are columns here. So in matrix, only two elements matters the most, that is rows as well as columns. So you can have any number of rows and any number of columns in a given matrix. So आपको एक मैट्रिक्स में कितने भी रो रह सकते हैं या कितने भी कॉलम रह सकता है. सो इसमें कोई भी लिमिटेशंस नहीं है कि एक ही रहना चाहिए, दो ही रहना चाहिए, चार रहना चाहिए. यू कैन हैव एनी नंबर. यू कैन हैव 1 row, 2 row, 3 row, or you can have 1 column, 2 column, 3 columns. Anything you can have. For example, I'll write one more here. So this is nothing but what? 3, 0, -1, 5, 7, 8. Here you can see how many number of rows are there here, my dear students. So this is first row and this is second row, and this is first column, second column, and third column. So here you have 3 rows and yes, how many rows? Yes, very good. 2 rows and 3 columns. Here you can have first column, second column, and first row, second row, which is 2 rows and 2 columns in the matrix A, and 2 rows and 3 columns in the matrix B. Okay, and so this is the basic definition. Along with that, you should know what are the position names of these matrices. So you should know the general matrix elements. Let us see. So matrix A is equals to A11, A12, A21, A22. So instead of matrix A, what we take here is, let us say, I'll write this one as I'll write this one as AI comma J. Okay, Aij. So here you can see this is a 2 rows and 2 columns. And if we have more than that also, I'll take this as capital A. AI comma J is equals to, you will have A11, A12, A13, A21, A22, A23, A31, A32, and A33. So this is very important, my dear students. If any matrix is given, you should know what are the names of each element and what are the position names of each element. So जहाँ भी elements दिए सो रहता है ना, उसका आपको नाम मालूम होना चाहिए. For example, if I write here it as 2033, okay, you should know what is the name of this position of this 2. So this is first element in the first row, that is A11. So first second element in the first row is A12. A12 is your 0. So this is very important. Why I comma j in a sense? So here you can say I is 1, j is 1. So I is 1, j is 1 in the sense A11. So if you want A12, what I substitute I value as I as 1, j as 2. That is then you will have A12. And the names are given accordingly. So you can see this A11 is present in the first row, first column, that is it is A11. So A12 is placed in first row, that is A1, and second column, that is 2. The first element represents row, second element represents column, isn't it? A12. Similarly, you can have here A21 is nothing but, so it is second row, first column, that is A21. So A22 is the second row, second column, that is its name is A22. The first element is always a row value, second element is always a column value. Similarly, this is Aij for 9 element, that is the 3 cross 3 matrix. So we'll see one more important definition in the next slide, that is you'll come to know what is the order of a matrix. That is very, very important, my dear friends. Okay, did you get this? Matrix as well as the general form of matrix where you can find the position values. Okay, let us. Okay, so this is very, very important, my dear students. M, order of a matrix. A matrix with m rows, this is very important, and n columns. N columns is called as a matrix of order m cross n. So if you have a matrix of m rows and n columns, then you will have m cross n order. So order of a matrix, if I take matrix A, O is order, so this will be generally m cross n. So m represent row and n represent column, my dear friends. I'll write an example here. For example, if I write 3 minus 1 0 2, okay, so the order is represented in the form of m cross n. So I'll write m cross n. Now tell me, m representing row here, what are the number of rows here? This is first row, this is second row, so it is 2. So how many number of columns? First column, second column. So this is a 2 cross 2 matrix. Simple. Just mention the rows, mention the columns. If we take another value, that is 3 2 2 5 0 minus 1. And now count the number of rows, first row, second row. So it is 2 cross. Number of columns, first, second, and third. So it is a 2 cross 3 order. Okay, did you get this? So similarly, we can write the order for these two. So what is the order for this one? So they are having 2 rows, 2 columns. Here it is 3 rows and 3 columns, isn't it? So this will be 3 cross 3. So the general form of 3 cross 3 is this one, and general form of 2 cross 2 is the first one. Okay, you need to remember these two because these two matrices are going to help you in finding the numericals in this chapter as well as in the next chapter also. Determinant also, you need the position names of all the matrices of 2 cross 2 as well as 3 cross 3. Okay, is it clear now? Okay. Now we'll move to the next category of problems, that is definitions are types of matrices. So the types of matrices, these are the different kinds of matrices, my dear students. Row matrix, column matrix, square matrix, diagonal matrix, identity matrix, scalar, equal, as well as zero or null. So these are the important definitions to be remembered, because on the basis of the definition you can solve 1 mark questions also. Okay, let us see one by one. Okay, so what do you mean by a row matrix? In a simple way, a matrix is having only one row in a matrix is called as a row matrix. So एक मैट्रिक्स में अगर एक ही रो है तो उसको रो मैट्रिक्स हम कह सकते हैं. एग्जाम्पल लिखेंगे आपको समझ में आ जाएगा. फॉर एग्जाम्पल इफ आई टेक मैट्रिक्स ए एज 2 3 0 1. सो नंबर ऑफ कॉलम्स कितने भी रह सकते हैं लेकिन रोज एक ही होना चाहिए. You can check here, this is the first row. I can represent as R1 also. So R1 is the first row. You can have number of columns as different. Okay, my dear students. So this we call it as a row matrix. Simple way. Okay. Is it clear now? Now column matrix. So similarly you can predict like a row matrix. The definition is as same as the column matrix. Okay. The matrix is having only one column is called as column matrix. So you can write its definition, that is I'll take B as 502. So you can call this as a row matrix because column matrix. This because we are having only one column. So here you can have more than one columns, one rows. You can have more than one rows, but column should be only one. Okay. You can write such examples with different elements. Okay. Now the next form of matrix is square matrix. This is very important, my dear students, because from this matrix we are going to define another 2 to 3 definitions. Okay, let us see. A matrix in which the number of rows are equal to the number of columns. So एक मैट्रिक्स में number of rows and number of columns सेम होने चाहिए. So एग्जाम्पल लिखेंगे कैसा. सो हमारा ऑर्डर क्या था, m रोज थे एंड n कॉलम्स था. सो यहाँ पे कंडीशन क्या है, m शुड बी इक्वल टू n, मतलब रोज आर इक्वल टू कॉलम्स. फॉर एग्जांपल मैट्रिक्स A इज इक्वल टू 0 3 5 -1. So here number of rows is equals to 2 and columns is equals to 2. So we call it as a 2 cross 2 matrix. We call such as square matrices. For example, B is equals to 1 2 3 -2 3 0 0 0 7. Here you can see this is a 3 cross 3 matrix because number of rows are 3, number of columns are also 3. Such matrices are called as square matrices, isn't it? So m should be equal to n. Okay, my dear students. We'll move to the next definition, that is diagonal matrix. This is very important. And a diagonal matrix is always a square matrix. You need to keep in mind. Okay, a diagonal matrix is always a square matrix. What is a square matrix? Do you remember? Just we have discussed. Yes, m should be equals to n. You need to remember that's this one. So m represents row, n represents column. Okay, but the condition here is said to be diagonal matrix in which all the non-diagonal elements are 0. मतलब diagonal elements present होने चाहिए. So non-diagonal elements क्या होने चाहिए, 0. चलिए देखेंगे एक एग्जाम्पल से, आपको समझ में आ जाएगा. So let us see one example. So 3007. My dear students, how can we know what are the diagonal elements? So the first element in the first row and second element in the second row are the diagonal elements. It is as simple as that. Okay, and these two are the diagonal elements for 2 cross 2 matrix. For 2 cross 2 matrix, what is the condition? First element from the first row, second element from the second row. If third row is there, then third element from the third row. So we'll see another example as 3 -2 1 0 3 4 and 1 2 3 1 2. Let us take it as -3. Okay, let us change this number. I'll take it as 2. Okay, now you can observe this is a simple matrix. This is not a diagonal matrix. This is not a diagonal matrix. Why? The diagonal element should be present, my dear students, but the non-diagonal elements should be compulsory 0. Yes, you got it now. Let us make it as diagonal element. Okay, let us make it as diagonal element. So this was not a diagonal matrix because the non-diagonal elements are not 0, isn't it? let us. So this is 1 1 0 0 0 2 0 0 0. Now you can see the diagonal elements are present and the non-diagonal elements are, these are called as the diagonal elements. So first element in first row, second element in second row, third element in the third row. These should be present and others should be compulsory 0, and this is called as diagonal matrix. Is it clear? We'll move to the next form of matrix, that is scalar matrix. So scalar matrix is a diagonal matrix. Yes, it is one definition is connected to another definition. So every square matrix, every diagonal matrix is a square matrix, but every diagonal matrix is always a scalar matrix. Okay, so scalar matrix will be compulsory in the form of diagonal matrix. So diagonal matrix in the sense only diagonal element should be present, others will be 0. But what is the difference between the diagonal and scalar is just one condition differs here. So a diagonal matrix is said to be scalar matrix in which all diagonal elements are equal. So previously here diagonal elements are different, you can see 1 2 3, but if the diagonal elements are same, then we call it as a scalar. Just one condition different from that. For example, matrix A is equals to A 0 0 0 A 0 and 0 0 A. You can see the diagonal elements are same, isn't it, my dear students? Are you getting this definition? You can see these diagonal elements are same. So you can have any number, you can have ABCD, you can have 1 2 3 4 numbers, but all the diagonals should be compulsory same. For example, if I take B matrix as 2 0 0 2, you can see the diagonal elements are still same, that is 2. This we call it as a scalar matrix, isn't it? Okay. Next, let us see one more important definition here, that is identity matrix. So identity matrix is represented by I, my dear students. You need to keep in mind identity matrix is represented by capital I. So a square matrix, so identity matrix is square matrix in which diagonal elements are equal to 1 and all others are 0. Which means diagonal a square matrix in the sense M should be is equal to N. Yes, you remember it, right? Square of matrix definition. So now we'll see with an example. So it is represented by I, so we'll take it as I. What is saying? The diagonal elements compulsory equal to 1. So diagonal element compulsory equal to 1 and all other elements are 0. So it is nothing but 1 0 0 1. So these two are the diagonal elements. The diagonal element should be equal to 1. If I take second example also, so 1 0 0 0 1 0 0 0 1, and this is your 3 cross 3 matrix, and you can see the diagonal elements are what here? The diagonal elements are what, my dear students? Yes, is equal to 1, and such we call it as a identity matrix and it is represented by I. Okay, did you get this? Okay, fine. One last definition is null matrix, or you can call it as a zero matrix. So it is very simple, my dear students. A matrix in which all elements are 0. So एक मैट्रिक्स में अगर सारे एलिमेंट्स 0 है उसको जीरो मैट्रिक्स बोलेंगे. फॉर एग्जांपल आप लिख सकते हैं आराम से, इफ आई टेक मैट्रिक्स ए एज 0 0 0 0 और मैट्रिक्स बी एज 0 0 0 0 0 0. It can have any order. Okay, if all the elements are 0, then it is a zero matrix. If suppose if I take the matrix as 1 0 0 0, so this is not a zero matrix because a11 value is equals to 1. So you know this is the position of this value is a11. If anything is present other than 0 is not a zero matrix. All elements should be compulsory 0. Okay, so these are the basic definitions, And I have added two more definitions which will going to help in solving some of the advanced problem like JE and CET. Let us see in simple way. So this is upper triangular matrix. Okay. So upper triangular matrix is nothing but a square matrix. It is also square matrix in which all the elements below the diagonal elements are 0. For example, if I take A, so let us take it as 3 cross 3 matrix because it is a square matrix. What is saying? In which all the elements below the main diagonal are 0, which means 1, 2, 3, 0, 3, 1, 0, 0, minus 2. So here you can see this is your diagonal element. This is your diagonal elements. Okay. So upper triangular in sense, so we call this as the triangle. You can see. Is it looking at like a triangle, my dear students? I'll show you the different pen. This is looking like a triangle, isn't it? So upper triangular matrix in the sense, the upper triangular element should be present, but below the diagonal element should be 0. And ये diagonal element है, इसके नीचे के elements 0 होने चाहिए, उसको upper triangular. Okay. इसका अपोजिट क्या है? लोअर ट्रायंगुलर मैट्रिक्स. लोअर ट्रायंगुलर मैट्रिक्स में क्या है? इन विच ऑल द एलिमेंट्स अबोव द डायगोनल एलिमेंट्स आर 0. सो डायगोनल एलिमेंट्स का ऊपर का एलिमेंट्स क्या होने चाहिए? 0 होने चाहिए. लेट अस से विल टेक दिस एज आल्सो 3 क्रॉस 3. सो 1 0 0 2 3 0 5 3 1. And this is your diagonal elements, and the upper triangular matrix should be 0. Okay, which means these elements should be 0. This is called as lower triangular matrix, isn't it? So I hope all of you understood this basics of the matrices, that is definition as well as different types of matrices. Please go through with all the definitions and with examples so that you can include these definitions in solving the problems. Okay, so I hope you understood this. All of you, please follow us. Thank you.